Imagine you're up late, unable to sleep. The clock reads a little after 4 a.m. You're flipping through the channels when you land on Cartoon Network. You'd expect to find some regular show reruns, or even some dubbed anime, but what you instead see is this.
I love Howard.
Howard is my classmate.
Howard is marketable to teenagers for centuries.
I am afraid of Howard.
Howard is my classmate.
I am Howard.
Don't you know what dog is backwards?
This is my wife. It is so nice to spend every day with your best friend.
You landed on an Adult Swim infomercial. Adult Swim, over the past 11 years, has been greenlighting short films to run during their 4 a.m. infomercial block. These short films are all produced by incredibly talented directors, writers, and actors. I've been a fan of review video essay content for a long time, and I've been a fan of this series for even longer, so I decided to take a shot at the genre. For this series, I watched every single infomercial up to the 40th installment, Skeleton Landlord, and I'll review and rank them all. This is going to take a while, so bear with me.
Icelandic UltraBlue.
Icelandic UltraBlue is the name of the pilot episode of the series' paid programming. The infomercial starts as a fake competition to write a theme song for the titular supplement brand, but then turns into another infomercial inside of the first one. It's basically Inception, but if it was made by the creator of the St. Joseph's East Hill Shopping Center commercial.
East Hills, we're back to school. Denim, haircut. Backpacks, come get your backpack.
Boots and pants.
Speaking of which, one of the best aspects about the short is how drastically they change in video quality. It gives a good feeling of authenticity. The short is incredibly funny, and I honestly think despite being 11 years old, it hasn't aged a single day. The short ends with a cliffhanger ending, and I can't wait to see how it continues. So the series was put on hold for 3 years. The network claimed that the budget of $50,000 an episode was too expensive. The project was put aside until 3 years later when they decided to revive it, practically stealing the show concept. I don't want to shame any of the creators of the individual infomercials because their ideas are truly their own and not stolen at all. And it's possible that someone just had the same idea later down the line, but it's really a shame that we never received the full paid programming show or a proper sequel to Icelandic UltraBlue.
Check this out.
I never know what to say to girls in situations like that.
3 years later, the infomercial block would receive another installment with Dangerously Delicious paid advertisement. This short is strange because it's the only one that's advertising a real product. Created by Aziz Ansari, the short is an ad for his comedy special that you could purchase on his website. I don't have much to say about this entry as it's pretty much here on a technicality. I'd skip it.
Time for you to die!
I'm also not going to spend a lot of time on this one as the NTSF, SD, SVU, HISS infomercial is just an episode of a pre-existing show. The only reason it's here is because it aired on the block and I guess it was on the Wikipedia article. I'd skip it too.
Folks, tonight on this show, we got swords, knives, blades, and a myriad of other sharp objects here and here only.
Swords, Knives, Very Sharp Objects, and Cutlery is a spin-off of NTSF, SD, SVU, HISS as a return to form for the series. Many people, myself included, have watched the video with no knowledge of its origin, and quite honestly, it makes it funnier. The episode stars Dragon Shumwald, the host of a shady fantasy weapons infomercial. The infomercial is seemingly regular until the US Army arrives to send their host back to Vietnam. He then proceeds to use his arsenal of Mall Ninja swords to defeat some Special Forces soldiers violently and hilariously. The short ends with people calling his line after he demonstrates the power of his weapons, and his sales rapidly increase. I think that this is one of the best shorts of the entire collection. It features more of the absurdist humor seen in Icelandic UltraBlue, and does a good job keeping the illusion of a real infomercial, before it decides to go crazy. The low production cost leads to some great comedic moments. I'm a firm believer that, for the most part, the best way to do comedy and horror is being forced to work with limited resources, something this series does very well. If I had to complain about anything, the middle drags a little, but I feel like it makes the payoff better. This short is funny and helps set the foundation for the rest of the series.
I am the destroyer of mountains, the killer of kings. I always fly by, yet I don't have wings. I can end basketball games or marriages with similar ease, and though I flow like a stream, only water can freeze. I've murdered parents and children and houseplants galore, yet despite all this, you always want more. Who am I? I'm Danny Boffa!
Broomshakalaka is another infomercial about a dubious broom multi-tool that the host insists is an exceptional time saver. Throughout the episode, the questionable attachments to the Broomshakalaka end up malfunctioning and eventually kill the host. After the host dies, in a Twilight Zone type twist, it's revealed that his time-saving promise was true, and if enough Broomshakalakas were sold, the dead can come back to life. The host's daughter gets resurrected, and then he's resurrected himself. With the host back, the sales increase greatly and the short ends. The best feature of this short is the product and the concept behind it. The effects are hilarious and, especially in one scene where the set is destroyed Eric Andre style, very well done.
This infomercial's over! Hear me?
Also, the time reversal power is a great twist. My only issue with this short is that it's very similar to the previous entry in the way the plot unfolds, in the way that it progresses, with there being a strange and useless product that's revealed to have some near magical property and the sales going crazy at the end. Other than that, this one's pretty good.
For-profit online university is America's fastest growing college on the internet. We've stripped away all of the problems of a traditional university.
Accreditation, full-time employees, buildings.
A satirical take on the business of online colleges. For-profit university is an advert for a hyper-capitalistic online college. This short, which is filmed in the style of a corporate advertisement, focuses on the students and professors of the titular university who are under siege by a rogue AI. Throughout the video, small glitches begin to appear and get more and more frequent as the runtime increases. Eventually, Howard, the hostile AI, takes over the entire video and the episode ends. As a new college student who's forced to live his freshman year online, the themes of for-profit online university feel relevant. While this was obviously not the intention, unless Adult Swim somehow predicted all this would happen 6 years ago, I think it adds a nice recontextualization. This episode is written well and has good attention to detail. All the actors have their usernames representing them in lower third graphics as to prevent Howard from hacking them. Also, I must commend whoever thought of the idea of a rogue AI that rewards deaf people who fire disability suits against the college for vocal anti-bot testing with free Panera bread.
Ooh, Uncanny Valley. Your rock fell down into the Uncanny Valley. It's down here with moving corpses, and this is where your girlfriend lives.
Going into this video, Live Forever As You Are Now was my favorite episode, so I must acknowledge my bias on this short, but it really is incredible. The short stars Alan Resnick, playing himself as an inventor and motivational speaker. Alan is trying to advertise his program where he creates an unsettling digital copy of himself. During the short, he describes his intrusive methods and shows how his product and the majority of tech speakers prey on sad and desperate people. One of my favorite aspects of the short is its design. Everything about the short riffs on the genre of motivational tech speakers by exactly copying their style. The graphics, set design, oddly specific graphs, poor CGI, and even the way some of the scenes are shot give the feeling of a dystopian TED Talk. There's also some phenomenal writing, with the standout examples being Alan's monologues on how he came up with his invention, the Uncanny Valley, and his unsettling modeling process. Whenever I'm talking about bad movie CGI, I always show people the Uncanny Valley scene. It explains the Uncanny Valley incredibly well, and I think is pretty funny too. This short is also the first to have an ARG type gimmick. For those who don't know, an ARG, or alternate reality game, is when a piece of media has an interactive game-type mystery or deeper context for you to discover with additional media. This short came with a fully functional website that has since been deactivated. Using the Wayback Machine, we can see how it looked and even test out some of the interactive features ourselves. I might make a separate video about this ARG and the other ARGs some other time. Overall, this infomercial is a surreal masterpiece. So far, this short stands tall above the others as the best overall.
Let's get one thing straight. When kids get bored, kids get violent. It's a sad fact, Mom and Dad. Protect yourself and your family. Get your kids the one toy they'll never get bored of. Fartcopter.
Fartcopter is an infomercial about a toy drone with a speaker attached to it that makes fart noises. I have to admit, after reading the title of this episode, my expectations were set very low. This short had almost everything going against it. A stupid toilet humor premise, and a child actor host shouldn't work, but they do. The premise is that kids are starting to get more violent, and the only way to pacify them is by buying a fartcopter. A child host advertises the product, showing off a graph that proves the link between the age of a child and how violent they are, which is immediately destroyed by a group of angry children. He then brings his parents on to do a testimonial. Towards the end, his parents pull him aside to have an intervention, and after giving him a 21 fart salute, he then proceeds to use the power of the fartcopter to deafen and kill his family. Basically, if I had to summarize this episode in one sentence, it would be, this shouldn't work, but it does. That could be said for the entire series, but it's far more applicable here. Apparently, the kid who is the host is now one of the main characters of the show Cobra Kai. Also, apparently, he's literally 2 days older than me, so I guess that shows how young I was when this came out.
The Mega Mixxxer!
That'll do.
With its futuristic jet black finish and super duper size, the Mega Mixxxer offers more bang for your buck than any other device in the Mixxxer line.
The Salad Mixxxer is an 11-minute long vibrator joke. The infomercial is stylized as a 60s era ad for a salad mixer that's very particularly designed. The joke is that the host has no clue that his product is being used as a vibrator, and thinks it's only being used as a salad mixer. After getting testimonials from his guests that he gave mixers to, the infomercial is revealed to be a part of the 50th anniversary ad of the product. Our host, now aged up, is still advertising the salad mixer and a new product called the Gravy Spot. The regular family that was shown in the beginning of the episode has been replaced by a table full of models. The infomercial ends with the guests beginning to strip and using the mixers while the host yells at them to put their clothes back on, and about how the mixer is his life's work. The end of the short is substantially funnier than the beginning, and basically makes the entire thing worth a watch. The concept is funny, but definitely not enough to fill an 11-minute infomercial. The next two we'll look at together, as they're basically half-length episodes, and quite honestly, I believe that this short would be better off if it were about half its length.
Man is dog's best friend. What's the matter, Brian? The dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's.
Alpha Chow is a half-length infomercial about a furry's worst nightmare. The ad is hosted by Kent Ross, a fictional inventor and bodybuilder. He and his furry mascot bring a guest on with his dog, and the furry takes the dog behind the curtain. Kent then gives his story about how he treated his sickly dog with Alpha Chow and unlocked his true potential. His pet, Dumper, then comes out and is a hideous monster. The guest dog then returns as Chewbacca, and the host reveals that he's actually the dog of the real inventor and was hiding a tail the entire time. The short ends as the mascot takes off his head to reveal that he's a mutant dog, and the credits roll. While this is only a half-length episode, the pacing is perfect. Another positive in my opinion is how well done the costumes were for the alpha dogs. They're both funny and really unsettling. I think that this idea could have been stretched to a full episode, but with the way it complements its second half, I think it works well.
This is my army. You're not even wearing any armor.
Where did you get that hideous tunic?
It's just this t-shirt from Hot Topic.
Goth Fitness, the other half-length infomercial, is about getting buff by summoning demons. The short has our two hosts talking about dieting, showing testimonials, and advertising their 666 workout program. They then sacrifice a program member's brother as part of a ritual. The sacrificed brother's body then becomes a vessel for the demon that they were trying to summon. The demon remarks that despite not being Viking berserkers and dressing in ugly Hot Topic merch, they do have great beach bodies and can serve in his army. The infomercial ends with the demon doing an ad read, while there's footage of him and the host playing frisbee. There's not much to say about this one, but I think it's well done. There were some good jokes, and despite being another fitness program commercial, it distinguishes itself well from Alpha Chow. This is my list so far, and I will continue with part 2 sometime if I ever make it.